Howdy all, and welcome to another episode of History of the United States according to Mr. Gresham. Today's episode is about vertical and horizontal integration. Now, vertical and horizontal integration are business strategies that companies use during the industrial period following the Civil War to try to get a corner on a specific market. In other words, drive the competitors out so that they control the entire market share. The person we're going to use to talk about this particular strategy, the example we're going to use, is Andrew Carnegie. Now, Andrew Carnegie is going to become the largest steel producer in the United States during this time period, and he does so by utilizing vertical and horizontal integration. Now, we're going to start with horizontal integration. Horizontal integration is when you attempt to control all of the means of production of a specific product. For example, in Andrew Carnegie's case, steel. If Andrew Carnegie wants to have complete horizontal integration, then he's going to own all of the steel production facilities in the United States. Now, Andrew Carnegie is going to come close to achieving almost total domination of the steel market by horizontally integrating, but he has an advantage in that he's going to use a new technology called the Bessemer process. Now, what the Bessemer process does is it allowed Andrew Carnegie to make a higher quality steel for less money. So he was able to produce a higher quality product at less cost. So his competitors, well, they were pretty much done, because who's going to buy higher cost, lower quality when you can have lower cost, higher quality? Nobody. So Andrew Carnegie was able to drive his competitors out of business, and then he bought up their facilities, upgraded them with the Bessemer process machines, and then was able to produce all the steel. You want to steel in the United States, you want Andrew Carnegie. So that's horizontal integration. All right, so now let's talk about vertical integration. Okay, vertical integration is once you have horizontally integrated your company, once you have purchased all of the means of production, the only way you can increase your profit is to vertically integrate, which is basically to lower your cost. So if here's what you're selling at and here is what your cost is, this area in between there's profit. The only way you increase profit is to lower this cost of production. And you do that through vertical integration by basically trying to gain control of the items you use in the production of your product. Now, in Andrew Carnegie's case, these are items like iron and coal. You need iron and coal to make steel. You need limestone. And so what Carnegie's going to do is he's going to start buying up limestone quarries, iron mines, coal mines, and then the means of transporting those goods to his factory. So he'll buy up railroad lines and things like that, all to cut out the middleman, to try to gain control of his costs, to lower his costs, okay? So that is vertical integration. And once you have achieved complete vertical and horizontal integration, you have become streamlined, you've become very efficient, you have lowered your costs as much as you possibly can, then you're at maximum profit. Okay? Now, what I'd like to do is go through the entire process again, but in a way that's a bit more fun than, steel production in the late 1800s. Let's pretend that we're going to vertically and horizontally integrate through the eyes of superheroes. All right, so for our superhero, I envision a guy by the name of Drew Payne. Okay, now he is a rich industrialist. His alter ego. He's this rich businessman that owns all kinds of corporations and factories and other things. And his superpower is money. Okay, he's an industrialist, so he has lots of money. He's going to use this infinite wealth to create all kinds of cool gadgets that he uses to battle evil. Now, I know this sounds like another famous dark superhero out there, but look, I'm allergic to getting sued, so just work with me here. We're going to stick with Drew. All right, so anyway, Mr. Payne doesn't want to just be the greatest superhero. He wants to be the only superhero, okay? And now, job security. How is it that a guy can eliminate the competition without, eliminating the competition? Because then he wouldn't be a hero anymore. He'd be a villain, and we don't condone that here on this show. So anyway, he's going to use his abilities as a businessman, of course, because he's a businessman. Those other guys, they're just guys that run around in tights. He actually has a day job. So anyway, step one, okay? As his powers revolve around gadgets, he needs to control the gadget market, okay? So also, as he is mind-blowingly rich, this is going to be relatively easy. All he has to do is drop his prices to a point where his competitors can't outprice him. Basically, he takes a loss. His competitors aren't mind-blowingly rich, so they have to make a profit. So this drives them out of business. And once they're out of business, he scoops up the remains of their company, adds it to his corporate empire, and moves on. Okay. Step two. Now that Mr. Payne is the only purveyor of gadgets in Metropostat, okay, again, I'm really allergic to lawsuits, okay? He raises his prices up to a point that are as high as the market can bear, okay? And he just soaks up the cash, right? At this point, the only way Mr. Paine can increase his profit margin is to lower his cost of production. Step 3. In order to lower production costs, Mr. Paine will need to control the raw materials that are used in the production of his incredibly awesome gadgets, right? As well as the transportation network that moves his goods to market and moves raw materials to his factories. So he begins to move behind the scenes, purchasing stocks through shadow companies, trying to gain controlling interests in companies that provide these raw materials to his production centers. Okay. He also then uses that endless supply of cash he now has laying around to buy favors from politicians who make sure that government contracts only go to companies friendly to him and not to any of his competitors, especially those that he intends to drive out of business and then purchase. Step 4. Once he's lowered his costs as much as possible, he is able to make maximum profit. Now he's able to hand all of his CEO duties off to some lackey, and he can concentrate on the really important stuff, fighting crime. And by the way, somebody really needs to start doing that because crime is on the rise, as a complete lack of competition in the market has driven the economy into the toilet. So crime is just skyrocketing, and it also seems that just about every politician out there seems to be on the lam to some rich industrialist. Thank you for your time.